Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Tuesday, March 22, 2022. Lots of twos there. And we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Well, thank you for joining Queer News Tonight, and welcome to you, Sobourney.
Just jumped in on my stuff. Anyways, hello world, and thank you for joining us tonight on Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening
we've
news
just
show.
proved it, by the way.
It works.
Right.
Whatever happens, you will see it, just like this. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the partnership between Happening Out Television Network and Hotspots Magazine. Hotspots is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ+ experience. We bring you the best of LGBTQ+ news, entertainment, and support of our community.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's begin by welcoming anchor Sobourney Barnes, a true South Florida native, born and raised here in Broward County to parents who found joy in public service. So therefore, is it any surprise she began working at SunServe, a local nonprofit agency that serves the LGBTQIA+ community. A graduate of Florida Atlantic University, where she earned her bachelor, and Florida International University, her master's. Sobourney has been an advocate for the LGBTQIA+ youth for almost a decade through her work at SunServe. Welcome, Sobourney.
Hi, Al. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you again this week. But I have a bigger introduction to do. Let's welcome anchor Glen Weinzimer. Founder of the Smart Ride, the second largest AIDS bicycle ride in the country, and the only one to donate 100% of the funds raised to AIDS services organizations. He also owns Bona Italian Restaurant with the garlic knots, where they celebrate Give Back Mondays, offering a portion of all sales to a different charity each week. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening, Sobourney, and we missed you last night. We actually had some garlic nuts.
Yes, we did.
broke
We had
bread.
dinner there. It was great.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's welcome anchor Jeff Oliverio. He is a founding member and treasurer of the Hollywood LGBTQ+ Council, a unique community civic organization designed to unite the LGBTQ+ community in Greater Hollywood. The council recently hosted the inaugural My Hollywood Pride. He's also the chair of the 2022 National LGBTQ Task Force Gala, being held October 2022 in Miami Beach. Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening. I'm not a garlic knot, but I am here to welcome another anchor, Dr. Tai Houser. He's an associate professor of English and humanities at Broward College. Additionally, he teaches for extended periods of time in international colleges in China, India, Spain, and Bolivia. Good evening, Tai.
Good evening, everyone. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Tuesday, March 22nd.
Well, let's begin by queering up our courts. The Supreme Court rejects appeal by Christian charities sued by a gay lawyer. The Supreme Court has rejected an appeal for review in the long-running legal battle between Seattle's Union Gospel Mission and Matthew S. Woods. Woods was denied a position as the ministry's lawyer in 2016 because he was in a same-sex relationship. Joined by Justice Clarence Thomas and Justice Samuel Alito, they argued that the Supreme Court has, quote, yet to confront whether freedom for religious employers to hire their co-religionists is constitutionally required, end quote. Lower courts ruled that because Woods was applying for a legal position and not a ministerial position, the church had no right to deny him employment.
Agreed.
So what's interesting here, though, is that the judges left open the possibility that they could hear something like this in the future. And Alito even said, we're going to have to weigh in on this eventually, but it doesn't quite make the threshold yet.
Mm-hmm. Definitely coming.
Yeah.
There are cases on the docket to consider religious freedom versus civil rights in LGBT.
I wonder if they would have turned their head if he wasn't in a committed relationship, because he made a point of saying that he's in a committed relationship, which is why they didn't allow him. So if he just kept it to himself, would it have been okay?
Well, then how does it come up? Did they investigate and find out, or did he bring it up himself? Or
Do not know, wasn't there.
I think we need to get religion out of employment and out of our government. That's what our country was founded for, religious freedom, but also not to discriminate against people. So I do think this is, it keeps coming up, and hopefully we'll get a Supreme Court someday that will see that that's something we need to separate.
And we have a remedy, and the remedy is called the Equality Act. That would solve this issue completely.
Thank you.
We can't find equality because we don't have enough voice to support the Equality Act, and that's where we're at.
All right. Well, let's clear up the worldview. LGBTQ plus group coming out flees Russia over police raids. Staying would be the way to jail. Within days of the start of the conflict with Ukraine, Russian authorities began to raid the offices of human rights and feminine activists. Alexander Voronov, the CEO of St. Petersburg-based Coming Out, said, quote, "The Russian state has already lost the war. All the world sees how the Russian army can't do anything to the small country that Russian authorities told us was so weak. The question is not about winning or losing. The question is where the authorities will find a reason for the loss. Will it be human rights defenders, foreign agents, traitors of traditional values, and everyone who was against the war?" End quote. Fearing the Russian government will turn on them next, Voronov and his group have chosen to flee the country.
It's an interesting story. I just remind everybody as we talk about this, there is no free speech going on.
They've cracked down on media.
Yeah, it's not only the media withdrawal. BBC had a Russian broadcast that's been withdrawn out of Russia. American networks, basically, even the reporters that were reporting for morning news or evening news have all completely stopped because of the threat from Russia. 15 years, possible sentences, and social media is basically, for all intents and purposes, gone. So there's no ability to exhibit any kind of speech about what's going on. But I'm curious, in terms of this story, we're glad that they're safe and they're withdrawn out of St. Petersburg. But do you think Putin and the Russian government will be able to keep this up? That they literally seal the borders of information so harshly that Russians do not know what's going on? Do you think that's possible?
I think, again, with technology and with the flow of information, where 50 years ago it was much easier to do this, there's going to be so much, somebody smarter is going to find a way to crack the code and to get information in, and this is virtually impossible, I think, in today's world, although they'll put up a good fight.
even during World War II, they were able to broadcast BBC News into the German, occupied areas. So again, with the media that we have now, radio is probably the least.
And I think the issue right now is there's such great fear because they're actually broadcasting the arrests of people carrying just a piece of paper against the war. Like if you just even make a statement and you call it war, you can be arrested. They're calling it a conflict, not a war.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me very sad for the citizens of Russia and what they're going through right now, because yes, the Russian government and the person running it is, yes, doing horrible things, is infiltrating Ukraine, and also he is harming his own citizens. And at the end of the day, that's something that I don't want people to forget, is that there are people who are ignorant of what is going on. They don't know, and they're probably 100% against what's happening, and they can't speak out about it or 15 years ago.
It's interesting to me, and I'll just echo, the number one response that I get about Queer News Tonight's stories on Ukraine and Russia is, why does it affect us? The constant observation that I get over and over again is, this is them. It is not us here in America. And I don't think anything could be farther from the truth. First off, this is affecting the LGBTQ community in Russia. This story does it. We've reported repeatedly what's going on in Ukraine and how LGBT is standing up to the Russian invasion. The movement of millions of people, which means some estimates are somewhere between 300 and 500,000 LGBT, just because of percentages, have had to move across the border to Poland and Hungary, which is not historically, although there's no negative reporting going on in terms of the protection that's going on in the country, but that affects LGBT. And if we are myopic and ignore what goes on in the LGBTQ community worldwide, how are we any better in terms of our silence harming people all over the world in our community? And second, we're in a situation where this kind of process that we are watching has direct effect on us, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, if people are allowed to oppress, it is only a matter of time that other people in other places go, oh, well, people won't stand up or voice against this, so therefore I can do it too. And by the way, I remind our LGBTQ community, we have somebody just like that that's living 38 miles north of us.
All it takes is one.
Yeah, and I feel like these attacks, as the norm goes up that, LGBTQ can be attacked across the globe, it kind of limits what, saying like, well, you have it good here. And that perception is where our community really needs to look at it and say, until we're all free, none of us are free.
Exactly.
I'm on that page.
100%.
I'm in that camp, right with you.
But moving forward, we're going to queer up trans rights. Twitter suspends Babylon Bee for calling Admiral Rachel Levine a man. The Babylon Bee, the right-wing satire website that makes The Onion look like Pulitzer Prize-winning material, has been suspended from Twitter. Babylon Bee editor-in-chief Kyle Mann wrote about the suspension, saying, quote, "The satirical article that offended the Twitter overlords, the Babylon Bee's Man of the Year is Rachel Levine," end quote. For the simple offense of labeling biological man a man through a satirical headline, we have lost access to all 1.3 million of our followers on Twitter. Official, end quote. Maybe if they tried actual humor instead of, personal attacks, then veiled in satire, they could also be as popular as The Onion, who has over 11.7 million followers on Twitter.
Free speech or this? Who wins?
Well, I'm gonna give the unpopular opinion. I think it is tasteless. I think it is offensive. I think it is everything that I'm sure the rest of us think that it is. But I also think they have the right to say it.
I think there's a distinct difference between free speech and hate speech. Like, the perpetual use of hate speech can cause harm. And at the end of the day, that's what I think people don't fully understand when they're like, oh, free speech, I have the full right to say what I want to say. Yes, you do, but if it's at the cost of someone else and their livelihood, their life, them being harmed, maybe you should rethink what you're going to say.
Sobourney, can I ask you, and please, and you know the intent of my question, but in compare and contrast to what Tai just said, Twitter's response to the Bee and very hateful in terms of the way they satirically are making a joke, very hateful, of what they called Admiral Dr. Levine. If somebody did the exact same thing to you in using the N-word in a satirical article, do they have the right to say that, and does that become hate speech? Same standard that you just talked about.
So if it was instead of the Man of the Year and it was the N-word of the year, it's still hate speech. It's like, yes, end of the day, you have the right to say whatever comes out of your mouth, but at the same time, that's hate speech. Like, you are spewing hate, and that could cause harm to me. Like, you don't know you have your little 1.3 million followers, or like The Onion, 11 million. Like, those people could start coming after me. And that could also, if they're coming after me on social network and I'm reading it, that could harm my mental health. And if they come physically.
I also think Twitter is a private company, and they have a choice to be able to publish whatever they'd like to publish. And although they're not saying that free speech doesn't exist, just says that their platform does not support all speech. And I think that's their right also. So I support this.
Right of the companies.
Well, let's keep querying up trans rights. Trolls with fake account post anti-Lia Thomas tweet with over 100,000 likes. This weekend, Lia Thomas became the first transgender athlete to win an NCAA Division I championship. Former Rio Olympic swimmer and Virginia Tech competitor Rekha György wrote an open letter saying, quote, "I'd like to point out that I respect and fully stand with Lia Thomas. I'm convinced that she is no different than me or any other Division I swimmer who has woken up at 5 a.m. her entire life for morning practice. On the other hand, I would like to critique the NCAA rules that allow her to compete against us who are biologically women," end quote. Her letter also points out that she placed 17th, so she would not have made the finals even without Thomas competing. Shortly after, a Twitter account claiming to be György that had over 17,000 followers tweeted about it, saying, quote, "My final spot was stolen by Lia Thomas, who is a biological male. Until we all refuse to compete, nothing will change. Thanks for all the support, retweets, and follows. I won't stop fighting," end quote. The account, which only had one original tweet and half a dozen retweets before it was suspended, did not appear to be actually linked to György. Conservatives claim the account was suspended as Twitter was censoring it, but it is far more likely that it was suspended for impersonation. Well, again, you know, free speech is, it goes both ways, but here we're talking about this issue of competing in this competitor in a sport where, you know, we keep going back and forth on the rules, and the rules clearly state that she is within her guideline to be competing. And I do agree, if the rules are going to be changed, then so be it. But as of right now, we need to stop this debate back and forth. It's just a dividing.
To the statement you just made, the NCAA, who regulates the sport, agrees with you. If she went on to a international meet or the Olympics, the IOC agrees with what you just said, and most importantly of all, the American Medical Association agrees with you. The science is the science. Exactly. This is a rejection of science.
Well, and the fact is too that it's not necessarily, it's likely not a real tweet, right? This is how Donald Trump got elected president. All the fake information that was being, you know, promoted through social media is part of what's happening here as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Repeat it enough, they believe it.
Yeah. And in my opinion, that's the real tragedy of this story. I think this story is very illuminating because trolls and what is happening in social media is dangerous for all of us. Because in this instance, Gorky specifically completely contradicts the point of the troll that steals the voice of Gorky. Gorky completely felt the opposite of what was being sold. That is dangerous for all of us. That is dangerous for democracy. That is dangerous for LGBT. That is dangerous for Sobourney, to her point. That is dangerous for America. The other thing that I think is very sad and very important in this story is, as quickly as that, 100,000 people like the statement. And there are all of these people in these dark shadows in social media that really feel very threatening kinds of ways, and they don't feel the confidence to come out and attack the Capitol on January 6th, but they're right there with them. And we have to constantly remember those are the kind of enemies that we are facing in the LGBTQ community.
And that's why I'm not on social media.
Well, those are our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ+ news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
I like quickies.
I know.
Queer News Tonight is reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6, 2020. Tonight we report that as of today, more than 5,701,000 LGBTQ+ Americans have contracted COVID-19.
Queer News Tonight remembers the more than 69,000 LGBTQ+ Americans that have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 558 million vaccination doses have been administered in the U.S.
That is our pandemic news for tonight. Next, we report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ+ religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
This is Mo Laredo, local law enforcement in South Florida, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Well, now we finish tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus Flash News.
LGBTQ plus Flash News. Republican governor of Indiana who replaced Pence vetoes trans sports ban. On Monday, the Republican governor of Indiana, Eric Holcomb, vetoed a bill that would have banned transgender females from competing in girls' sports. In a letter, he wrote that there was a, quote, presumption of the policy laid out in HEA 1041 is that there is an existing problem in K-12 sports in Indiana that requires further state government intervention. It implies that the goals of consistency and fairness in competitive female sports are not currently being met. After thorough review, I find no evidence to support either claim, even if I support the overall goal, end quote. With simple majorities in both the House and Senate, state lawmakers could override Holcomb's decision with a veto override vote as soon as May 24th, when legislative leaders have a tentative meeting planned. I wish our governor would have taken that same advice when he said, oh, there really is no evidence for the Don't Say Gay bill, but we're going to do it anyway.
I don't know, Indiana, mother, we have a problem. Right? I mean, the fact that we have more freedom here in Indiana going on than we do in Florida is also very scary.
Oh, boy, I just went right up my spine when you said that. Man, is that a bullseye. It's interesting to me because this has been said for months here in Florida. They are creating a solution for a problem that does not exist. We cannot repeat that enough times. I'm shocked that I am voicing that the Republican governor of Indiana, who replaced Pence, has given us a breath of fresh air. That I'm just shocked. And the major point is he says, I can find no examples of this going on that can be replicated all over America. It's not happening.
Exactly. I mean, what I can see in women and girls sports is inequality in pay and support, you know, things like that, which that you can rectify with, you know, legislation, but creating a problem that does not exist, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Pence must have been thrilled to read this.
Oh, it was the first thing I thought of.
Yes. Yes. Watch his head explode.
I love it. I love it. But back to the LGBTQ plus Flash News. The reason owners abandoning dog at shelter, he's gay. What a world we live in. A family in North Carolina brought their dog, Fesco, to a shelter because he was gay. And we all know homosexuality is unnatural. That's why it's only seen in humans and this dog and at least 1,500 other species. All kidding aside, these people projected their own insecurities on their dog when they saw him humping another dog. The website for the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals states, quote, mounting, thrusting, or humping, and masturbation are normal behaviors exhibited by most dogs. They mount and thrust against other animals, people, and objects, such as wadded up blankets, dog beds, and toys. Sometimes dogs just rub up against people or objects without mounting them, or they lick themselves, end quote. The dog was adopted by gay couple Steve Nichols and his partner John. So we hope he found a home where he won't be judged for who or what he humps. Queer News Tonight also encourages all of our viewers to adopt from shelters or help them with donations of time, goods, or money. There are many animals like Fesco who need a forever home. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Who here has never had their leg humped by a dog at least once in their life? Like, it happens. Just assume that, okay, you're a gay dog. I'm like, that's, no.
Now ask me that exact same question about Glenn.
Have you been humping legs? And I don't know.
No, but I've been humped many a time, and I have never rejected it.
There you go.
There you go.
I feel like we could take that statement from the Animal League and just replace it with Al's name.
Oh, Chad, I've written down an observation that I can't tell now.
Warning to North Carolina family, don't watch Family Guy.
Exactly true.
Yeah, because that gets into bestiality territory.
You know, I love this story, and I love this story because I never thought that somebody would reject the idea that a dog is doing its natural inclination, which is our argument about LGBT. It's completely natural. And these people reject it, and it's a dog doing what it naturally does.
An adorable dog.
That's what I said about you.
All right.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Oh, shade today.
Yeah, lots of shade. All right. LGBTQ plus flash news. Fort Lauderdale's gay mayor, Dean Trantalis, decides not to run for Congress. One of America's most notable mayors, who is also a member of the LGBTQ plus community, has been rumored for weeks to be running for U.S. Congress. Fort Lauderdale Mayor Dean Trantalis was a frontrunner to run for the seat of Congressman and LGBTQ plus ally Ted Deutsch, covering Palm Beach and Broward counties. Last night, Trantalis put those rumors to rest. The answer is no. He will remain mayor of what Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network lovingly call this place the gayest place on planet Earth. The mayor said at a press conference that I attended, quote, "In the weeks since U.S. Representative Ted Deutsch announced his retirement, I have given much thought to the idea of running for Congress. I have heard from many friends and neighbors with the advice on what I should do. The decision to remain as your mayor has been made easier each time I attend a ribbon cutting or join in the celebration of another milestone we have achieved. People are warm and appreciative. I do love our city. It truly is a great place to live, work, and enjoy. And I look forward to making each of our dreams possible. I also look forward to working with the next member of Congress," end quote. Trantalis told me at the event that his pursuit to run for federal office has not yet come, but it may. He keeps the door open. Trantalis is one of America's highest-ranking city officials as a gay mayor of a major metropolitan city and has done much for the LGBTQ plus community. An example is this embracement for Sunshine Cathedral. Watch this.
Hi, I'm Dean Trantalis, the mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale. They say the gayest place on planet Earth, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Dean Trantalis likely will continue that LGBTQ plus community support. Congressional District Florida 22's loss is our local gain. I'm very happy that he's going to be mayor, and I'm glad he keeps the door open because he would be great for us in the U.S. Congress.
No, I agree. I'm happy he's staying. I think that a lot of folks they take for granted the elected officials that are here at home, that are within reach, that we can actually talk to, who are making change, who are doing things for us. So thank you for staying, Dean.
I like Dean, and I'm also thrilled that he gets a thrill out of cutting ribbons, and one of the reasons he wants to stay in that position.
I mean, obviously it is our gain, but I'm just upset now because I can't say Glen Weinzimer for mayor.
Oh, that would never happen. There's a lot of skeletons.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sad that he's not going to Congress. We do need a lot more LGBTQ representation in politics, so support all candidates that are hopefully supporting our causes, especially from the LGBTQ community.
Well said.
And that's back to me. LGBTQ plus flash news. Ha! Dumbledore finally gets a gay moment in new Fantastic Beasts movie. Watch this.
What you're doing is madness. Dumbledore, with or without you, I'll burn down their world. There's nothing you can do to stop me. Do you really intend to turn your back on your own kind? No. It was you who said we could reshape the world. It's what we said we'd do. Because I was in love with you.
The Secrets of Dumbledore, rated PG-13.
Well, a lot has happened since 2007 when J.K. Rowling first said that Harry Potter character Dumbledore was gay, and he had been romantically linked to the evil wizard Grindelwald. The main series of movies concluded, the actors all grew up, and J.K. Rowling became her own version of Voldemort. Instead of trying to get rid of mudbloods, she has led a campaign against the transgender community. This has led to widespread boycotts of the franchise, and for many, the on-screen confirmation of the gay romance will not be enough to get them into the theaters. As many of you know here, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but I am a fan of this story. So I love seeing representation of our community in movies, and hopefully this will be a rebuttal to our friend and my favorite story person, J.K. Rowling.
Seen a lot of the movies, have you?
And I'm also a fan of Jared Harris, a big fan, so go see the movie.
All right, so interesting to me first. I'm glad there's a little exploration. I hope they will do more. I'm not a fan of J.K. Rowling. I think she's been a bit ignorant. I also think in terms of rejection, it's interesting that Grindelwald is introduced as a new character, and there's almost nothing said about the new character that is, the new actor that is playing Grindelwald. It's quite a significant change.
Oh, we're not going to get into Johnny Depp. I'm not going to lie. I'm used to that face because of the first two. I am a fan. I'm looking straight at you, so I'm going to keep looking at you.
We're reading you.
Yes.
For Phil. But no, definitely, I will give a little bit of credit to JK in that she created such a substantial world, such a changing world that has captured the imagination of millions.
Yeah.
Like from my generation to other generations. So I give her that, and that's it.
That's it.
But I'm looking forward to this new movie.
Yeah,
I want
me
to see if
too.
they're going to make out, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't know Voldemort was that good looking when he was young, so I have a new opinion of him, or newfound respect.
It's Grindelwald.
Yeah,
Both
Grindelwald.
of them, they were very nice.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I was a huge Harry Potter fan. I read all the books, saw all the movies, and despite J.K. Rowling's, his character has got some depth, and that's wonderful.
Yeah,
I understand that they're going to have a gay dog.
right.
They need
It's going to
It's gonna hump all the things, but that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share the news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
And if our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these type of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. And that is the passion of the Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Sobourney Barnes, Glen Weinzimer, Jeff Oliverio, and Dr. Tai Houser. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. But before we end our show, we have one final story.
That's right. We're going to queer up South Florida and Florida in general. Special interview with Compass GLCC on 3-year return of Palm Beach Pride. On this Sunday, March 27th, the Happening Out Television Network will be broadcasting Palm Beach Pride from Lake Worth, Florida. Recently, anchor and overall good guy Al Ferguson sat down with Julia Murphy and Michael Reardon from Compass to discuss the event. Watch this.
Well, next we have a very special interview here at Queer News Tonight. South Florida's first big Pride celebration is going to start this week in Palm Beach. Julia Murphy is the Chief Development Officer for the Compass LGBTQ plus Community Center. You're going to love what you hear here. The center organizes the 2-day festival and parade. Also joining Julia is Michael Reardon. And Michael works at Compass and is in the process of transitioning from male to female. And unlike many transgender individuals, she goes by any pronouns, going to make it easier for me, and is keeping her birth name. From an early age, Michael knew that she had feelings that were not normal. In the 1980s, there were few resources for transgender people, and in many cases, no one knew that transgender people even existed. At the age of 10, she tried to express feelings of gender dysphoria to a family member, and the reaction she received convinced her to hide how she felt for 27 years. Together, they bring this amazing event to Bryan Park at Lake Worth Beach. Welcome, Julia and Michael, to Queer News Tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Very exciting. First off, this is the first big Pride of 22. Parade, big festival, 2-day festival. Let's see, it's been 3 years. We had this little thing happen over the last couple of years. I'm trying to remember, what was it?
I don't know.
This day, 2 years ago, we had to make a really difficult decision. St. Patty's Day will mean something very different for me for many years to come.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me. We are excited about the return, aren't we? It's really interesting. I made I've been commenting, your weekend is the busiest weekend I have ever seen for LGBT and other events. So it means we're all just jonesing to get out there and to celebrate. And for LGBT, the first opportunity is Palm Beach Pride. Tell us a little bit about the festival, what's going to be going on.
So this is our 30th year. We're very excited. So we've done the last weekend of March for actual 30 years. I think other people copied us. That's done because of weather, to be truthful. June is just too hot. We realized that a long time ago. Palm Beach County for a long time was very seasonal as well. We just weren't as busy. And this seemed to be an optimal time. It worked out for us. So this is 30 years. We're marrying 30 couples at our event on Sunday, March 27th. But the weekend's going to have a full weekend of festivities. We have an entertainment all weekend, vendors, food, a pride bar, a family zone, pet-friendly areas, HIV testing, of course, and then the parade will kick off on Sunday, and we have over 200 parade entries, which
200 entries in the parade. That's amazing.
It's a lot.
That's amazing.
And if you're one of those people that likes being active, there's also a Pride 5K Friday night before Pride, being hosted by Night Runners, West Palm Beach.
All right.
So it's a little jam-packed. You're not wrong.
So Saturday's going to be a festival. It starts at what time?
12 to 6.
12 to 6, and you have a lot of vendors, I imagine.
150 vendors.
150 vendors.
More than we've ever had.
But see, there's the proof. We're just jonesing to get back.
I think that's right.
We sold out earlier than ever.
We had to stop selling tickets, and we have a waiting list that's quite extensive.
Oh, that's just such a terrible problem to have.
Really, right?
Terrible problem. And so you'll have all of these vendors, food. You perked up my ears when you said something about special drink.
We have a pride bar.
A pride bar.
Oh, yes, and a lounge. And then one of our local bars, Roosters, is going to have an area there. We have a DJ. We have beer, Tito's, of course, our newest sponsor, Crystal Head, which is going to be really there, really fabulous, and then a house rosé. The house wine is the sponsor of it. That's the best area. Everyone hangs out there all weekend long, of course, as you know.
I can't. And you know, I have never been to Palm Beach Pride.
You're going to love it.
I've been to, I'm not kidding you, 100 prides all over the world. I've never been to Palm Beach.
It's going to be a different experience, I think, for you. You know, we tend to be, we have something for everybody, as Julia pointed out: beer, cocktails, entertainment, vendors, food. But we do have a family-friendly atmosphere, and it's just a really nice weekend for people to come out.
You have a very famous neighbor. I'm sure he's going to show up.
Sure. We'll see the motorcade come in. We'll just tell everybody to be real quiet. And maybe it'll go away.
I didn't even mention his name. Everybody got the joke that I just told. All right, so you're going to do this on Saturday from 12 to 6, and then Sunday you're going to restart it all over again. Walk us through how that day is going to work. Sunday, March 27th.
Yes, so Sunday is going to be our parade. We start lining up at 8:30 in the morning, so it's an early day, and then the parade takes off at 11 a.m. and it's going to go all downtown Lake Worth. It's a mile long, and it's on Lake Avenue between Dixie all the way to the park. The parade ends at the park.
And at the end of the parade, do you do the festival again?
So basically we don't open the festival until the parade is done, and everybody that comes out for the parade usually walks to the festival with the last car, and it's just
I want to talk about Pride in a moment, but I do want to say for the first time ever, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network is very proud to participate and support your efforts in Palm Beach County and Palm Beach Pride. We are going to be broadcasting the parade live.
That's awesome.
And Faye what? I'm sorry. Faye what? Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I get paid $20 by her every time.
Oh,
I do that,
nice.
By the way.
You're rich.
And, right, and Kitty Meow and myself, the three of us are going to be broadcasting the parade live, and we're going to show the whole world what's going on in Palm Beach. We're going to be in Roku and Apple Television.
Amazing.
Besides their social media platforms, we're very excited about the event. Now, I want to zero in on Palm Beach specifically. It sounds like a fantastic time. I can't wait to do it. But after all, a Pride festival, Palm Beach Pride, has pride in its name. And it's put on by Compass, and you are the LGBTQ Community Center in Palm Beach and Palm Beach County. Tell us a little bit about Compass. And for those that might not be as familiar with you, tell us what you do.
Well, I'll start and then I'll let Julia take over, but it's interesting that you say that we are the one in Palm Beach County. We're the only one in Palm Beach County, and if you go north from Palm Beach County, we're the last LGBTQ community center until you get to Orlando.
Yeah.
So we really, it's important.
So you're like a last line of defense.
We're the last, like,
That's
before you go into the desert, you got to stop and get the water from us.
You say desert, I say radical. Oh, no.
Whatever it is, it's a barren wasteland.
Yes.
But Compass does many things. We're a community center, and unlike other Pride organizations that only do Pride, that's their sole purpose, we are an active daily community center. We have case management and health services for people living with HIV and AIDS. We have a youth program, mental health help for people, the HIV prevention department. We also have the Cannes Community Health Clinic inside Compass's walls. It's really a place where there is services and things for everybody. We have groups at night, support groups, social groups, meeting space.
So you're literally an LGBTQ community center. You're a place where you meet in your community. I've been to the center several times. How big is it? Do you know off the top of your head?
14,000 square feet.
14,000 square feet. We're not talking about a tiny little place in Palm Beach County. Tell us about what you do at Compass.
I'm the Chief Development Officer. I've been with Compass for 13 years. I started as an intern, and I've grown throughout the organization. So I really could tell you, I speak, live, and breathe Compass. It is who I am. I represent all of our fund development strategies, our programs as well, and really help lead the charge of the presence and visibility of our organization, not only within the LGBT community, but in the ally community in Palm Beach County.
Julia, it's interesting to me at Compass. We've talked about this before. Compass is led by a lesbian as executive director. You are the development officer, and you identify as a straight woman, married with a child.
Yes.
Your representation in the organization as a trans woman in transition. There's a lot of diversity there, and there's a lot of women in that leadership. That's very unusual. Frankly, it's very unusual. Why does that happen there in Palm Beach, and how has that led to the successful kind of strategy that is going on in Palm Beach County?
I think that the community embraced the change when we went to a female staff. It was not intentional, just kind of organically happened that way. Michael said it another day, and I thought was really interesting, but we're results driven. We listen to the community, we take feedback, we embrace the differences in our community and want to bring that to the forefront of it. We always are looking to see how we can do better, not only within our events, but in our programming. And our programs are represented in our events, just like Palm Beach Pride. So we have a lot of the elements of what we do as an organization in that event. It is a party, but it's a party with a purpose. And in there, everybody's welcome and accepted. And that's the same thing that we do on a daily basis inside the organization. You don't have to be LGBTQ to come to Compass for a service, but we want the LGBT community there. So it's a great partnership, not only within our own organization, but we have Palm Beach County Human Rights Council, which is the advocacy arm of what happens in Palm Beach County. So we have a lot of protections for the community that is a focal point of it, and we collaborate with so many different organizations, not just LGBTQ.
That's super interesting to me because I agree with you. It's unique that your community center in Palm Beach County is actually putting on the Pride. But your community center, in terms of the services you provide and what you do for community, really means that you're celebrating Pride 365 days.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
That's really interesting and probably very indicative of your success. Congratulations on what you do.
Thank you.
help all of us that live down here in Broward County and Dade County, Miami-Dade, help us understand why we should come up March 26th and 27th. Why should we get our passports out and
Right,
exactly.
So it's actually a fun ride now. You can hop on that bright line, and it is literally a half-hour wait.
That's right. I didn't think about that.
And it's
or Tri-Rail.
Or Tri-Rail. You can do one or the other, or the Uber. It's not too expensive. It's really easy. I think that our pride is representative of many aspects in our community, and what I will say is that it feels like home. When you come in, it feels like Cheers. The pride, you see the presence, the energy you feel, you will not feel. I've been to many other prides. You don't feel that anywhere else. It truly feels like your grandma, your brother, your sister, your dog, everybody's there with you to celebrate pride in that moment and acceptance, and it truly is representative in every single aspect. So you can come and get something to eat, you can buy some merchandise, you can look at your local entertainment, but you can do that with your whole family if you want to, however you want to participate.
That's so important, and I think that that's right. It's that atmosphere where, let's say that you're newly out and you're trying to have your family, or your family's trying to be supportive, and you want them to go with you to a pride event. You know, some of them are a little bit much for some people, and I love those types of prides as well. But ours is somewhere where you could really take your whole family and introduce them to the community, so that they can see that all we're doing is just existing, having a, being ourselves, our diversity, the point that we came to in our lives, where we said, this is who I am, and I need the world to see it because I need to exist. And that's what we have at our pride.
It's discussed a lot in our community. Do we still need pride events? Lots of conversation. And I constantly point out, well, have you paid attention to what's happened in Florida in just the last 90 days? That's a reason to have pride and put ourselves in front of community to say, we're here and we're proud of who we are, and what we're watching is very hard. It must be very difficult for you in terms of what we watch for and both of you. You're a parent of what we're watching our children face in schools and what we're watching in healthcare for the trans community.
It's real for us too, because we provide a youth programming, and these kids are coming and talking about it, and the devastation that they're feeling. And I think that people don't realize that kids are a lot smarter than what we give them credit for. They're hearing about other people making decisions from them when they don't even ask them how they feel. It's really devastating to see. And our youth, we're taking them to Tallahassee next year to have this deeper conversation and have more representation, because if not, what's going to happen? We need the kids, and we've seen it with Parkland. They have to be organized, and we're going to help them do that.
But everything, like you said, everything that's happening right now, the question you posed is, do we still need prides? I think after marriage equality, right, there was kind of this sense of, we've done it.
We kind of fell
we're
asleep
good.
at the switch also.
And it's just a concerted effort to stamp out our community. It isn't trans kids that are being targeted. It's all LGBTQ kids and families in Florida. But when you see the overwhelming number of anti-transgender bills that are being considered in state houses across the nation, it is an assault on all of us. And it is important to have prides, because not just for the people that are naysayers, but for the people that are scared now, again, to be themselves. You need to come to pride. You need to see you are not alone.
That's exactly. I'm right on that page with you. That resonates with me so strongly, because the number one thing that I have thought about in this visceral debate on Don't Say Gay is that we're pushing young people into the closet to say, well, you might be okay, but don't say anything. Don't be you. Don't be authentic. We'll accept you as long as you're this.
And it's a message, that message that you just said, that they're saying it can't exist at the same time together. They're completely opposite. You can't be okay, and you can't say it's okay to exist as long as you don't tell anybody.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, interesting to me, as we say, Don't Say Gay, and the other bills and other kinds of legislation and other kinds of news that we're watching in the world, Palm Beach Pride is the antithesis of that. To say, wait, we're not only not not going to say gay. We're going to please say gay loudly, clearly.
Yes.
Very
Say it
loud.
really
Very
loud.
clear.
Really loud. I imagine
Yeah.
both of you can say it really
Oh, we can
loud
say it
too.
real
I mean, I can drop the voice and really get it out there.
Right, exactly. I'm curious. No parade for 3 years. I point out the entrance of 200 units in your parade and 150 vendors for this 2-day festival. We're jonesing to get out. Any guesses, preliminary estimates of how many people might
The last time in 2019 we had 30,000. I can tell you, I believe it's going to grow this year just through the emails and the phone calls. All of our tickets are sold in person at the moment because it's the rate up to get in is a lot less expensive for us to do a credit card sales online. But just the anticipation and the feedback, and you can see from social media numbers, it is going to be epic numbers. Everything else has been epic. I can only imagine the attendance. And we had Pride Market in June, and we underestimated how many people were going to be. I would say triple the amount of people we thought would be there. We sold out of mimosas by 9 a.m.
Yeah, our
By
executive
9 a.m., I bought
director.
That's a terrible problem to have.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but I underestimated. as
When
I
you
said.
clean Publix out of orange juice
Yeah.
in South Florida,
We
you're doing something.
Yeah.
No, it was
That's
intense.
That's funny.
But to add to what Julia's saying is, there was another event just recently called the Lake Worth Street Painting Festival, and the attendance, I think they broke records both days.
Yeah.
And I think it's a combination of people just ready to get out. It's been 3 years, but also this focus on the community and just this meanness coming from the government, from adults. I think that people are just coming out and just want to show that they're,
And we
this
want
doesn't
to
stand.
celebrate
Exactly.
our
We want to
community.
celebrate. Yeah.
That's completely it. I can't wait. And how fantastic for me, selfishly, let me be selfish. How fantastic for me to be able to come to Palm Beach Pride for the first time and have this experience.
Oh, we can't wait.
I want to hear your feedback about when we say there's a feeling that you get. I want to know if you could better describe it. It's a feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to Smart Ride. That feeling, the other time I've had it, is at the end of Smart Ride at the closing ceremony.
Yeah.
That togetherness, that just being
Glenn's
in
an
space.
anchor at Queer News tonight.
We know Glenn very
Yeah,
well. We're
yeah,
a benefit
Glenn.
agency.
Yeah,
We're
love
very
Glenn.
appreciative.
Yeah.
But that feeling, I think it's the only time I've felt that. And it is truly a pure sense of happiness and acceptance.
Julia, I hear you loud and clear. I believe you loud and clear. It's not politics. It's not money. It's not business. It's not commercialism. It really gets to the heart of what we need today, which is to celebrate our community.
Yeah.
100%.
And
each
we
other.
do that, and each other.
And
we
respect each other.
And we do that through Palm Beach Pride.
Yeah.
Julia Murphy and Michael Reardon, I'm so excited. March 26th, March 27th, come both days. Because they're likely going to sell the mimosas out by 9:30 in the morning or something. No,
We made arrangements.
We're got that
prepped.
under control.
We're
And
ready.
that
I
parade,
over-ordered.
Did you? You'll be serving a lot,
Yeah.
right? And March 27th, that parade, it is the first Pride parade back. In 2022, and we're still in pandemic, but moving out of pandemic. It sounds absolutely fantastic. It radiates off of you the enthusiasm of what we're going to experience and feel when we go to.
The last bit that you have to remember is we're marrying 30 couples for our 30th anniversary.
Yeah, 30.
So at the park at 1 p.m. we'll be marrying 30 couples.
On Sunday, the 27th.
Oh, it's just awesome. I can't
Including our
wait.
executive director. Sorry, I keep
She's
cutting
getting
you off,
married.
but yeah, our executive director is getting
wow.
married.
After a 10-year engagement.
Yeah.
About time, right?
Yeah. And I can make all kinds of lesbian and U-Haul jokes too. I won't. It's great. We can't wait to do it. I know the LGBTQ South Florida community is just going to turn out in record numbers.
We're ready.
We agree.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It sounds
Thank
amazing.
Pleasure to be here.
It is Palm Beach Pride, March 26th and March 27th. If you're not there, where are you going to be? Queer News Tonight.
I like that too.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire